I'm raising my pen in support of this campaign to promote the girls' education. It's not only the basic human rights, but it's also the key to change the mentality of society.
Dr. Sima Samar, you have a long-standing and courageous dedication to human rights, especially the rights of women, in one of the most complex and, dare one say, dangerous regions in the world. One documentary that was made about you called you the quintessential Afghan woman. Why do you think you were labeled the quintessential Afghan woman?
Well, I think I have fought for 40 years with different regime on human rights, and particularly on women's rights in a very difficult situation in Afghanistan. So maybe that was the reason, and also promoted a lot of girls' education in general, but girls' education, and access to basic social services, including health services, and particularly access to reproductive health for Afghan women in my country.
You have fought the Soviets, you have fought the Mujahideen, you have fought the Taliban, and many death threats that were made against you, but you snubbed a nose at them in an effort so that you could alter the status of Afghan women in Afghanistan. Why has that been so important to you? And how important is the role of education? Because you yourself agreed to an arranged marriage in order to be able to go to university and then eventually become a doctor.
You're right. I actually began to fight against the regime and equality for men and women before the invasion of the Russian, before the coup d'etat in 1978, because I faced discrimination in my country because of being a woman and because of being the minority as a Hazara. So that is why I fought for so long with different regimes for equality between people, and particularly between men and women. And the reason I fought, and the tool that I have used to fight for equality, was education. I keep saying that, what is the difference between me and my cousin who is not educated? I was able to bring a lot of changes to the life of the other people through education.
Do you think Afghan women have made strides? Because we hear the positive stories of young Afghan women who are becoming CEOs, founders of their own company. Is this a positive picture that we're seeing coming out of Afghanistan now?
Well, I think there's a lot of achievement. You can see women in the journalism. We never had a camera woman. Now we have a lot of camera women and a lot of women who are working on journalism and freedom of expression and freedom of speech and freedom of media. We can see a lot of women as a professional, including educated, having PhDs in different sectors of the society. We see a lot of women who are female nurses and midwives in the country. We have a lot of women who are businesswomen. They have companies and they run the companies and they do export and import. We've seen a lot of women in politics. We see a lot of women who are members of the parliament, and they are the ones who are fighting for equality and human rights. And we see a lot of families who allows now and looking for a better quality of education for their children. That is a big impact. We can see a lot of women who are now fighting for human rights. I mean, women's rights and human rights in Afghanistan is much better than our neighboring countries, if you look at the human rights situation. I saw people from a very conservative part of the country who came up with their daughters when they faced sexual violence. And that is a very positive impact of, let's say, human rights, in promotion of human rights in the country.
So what is, in your opinion, required, that must happen in Afghanistan now to maintain this momentum?
So we have to keep this achievement and build on that in order to have a better society, in order to have a prosperous society and community. As a whole, in a global context, we have to be equal with the other countries, with our neighboring countries, with other parts of the world, because we cannot achieve sustainable development in the world if we have Afghanistan, we keep Afghanistan in the 19th century.
All those who are supporting Afghanistan's continued progress, continued right to education for their girls and for their women. What is your message to us, to the global policymakers?
I think it's a promotion and protection of human rights and promotion of equality for every human being is shared responsibility, and we have to continue, because we have seen that if we leave Afghanistan as we did in 1990s, the problem will reach every other countries, far, not only the region, but also in global context and far away from Afghanistan.
Dr. Samar, you are a clinical doctor. You were the first Minister for Women's Affairs in Afghanistan. You headed up the Human Rights Commission in the country. You have deservedly been nominated for many international awards and global recognition for the work you have done, including twice for the Nobel Peace Prize. How much of what the good we're seeing in Afghanistan can we put at your feet?
I see that education is key in order to change the mentality, in order to promote equal society and human rights and development in a country. And particularly, you cannot have a sustainable peace without women's involvement and without women's with empowered women, of course, with access to quality education.
Was everything that you personally went through in your life worth the trouble and the angst that you faced to see what's happening positively in Afghanistan today?
I'll give you an example. I was talking with a group of Afghan men. I was the only woman in the room. Maybe there were 25 of them. And one of them, who's more religious, he was talking about human rights, that we have to keep human rights as our agenda. And I said, I'm proud to say that I see the impact of my work on new people.